Awesome. Giulia, welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk all about confidence. Now, you've heard that we're in a visibility crisis, a funding crisis, but what if we told you today that there's also a confidence crisis? And that's why we brought Giulia on to talk more about how you can be the most powerful, confident, girl boss version of yourself, regardless of who's watching. So Giulia, welcome. And please can you start by introducing yourself?
Of course. First of all, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be talking about this. Like you said, my name is Giulia. I am originally from Italy, and my whole life it was a steep learning curve towards being who I am today, and it's still a steep learning curve. We're still evolving. I have a background in movement. I've been a yoga teacher, movement coach, coaching women with flexibility and just feeling good in their bodies and movement. I've also been a mindset coach, and now I've translated all this experience into being a confidence coach. And because I worked in an accelerator before, meaning helping startups raise fundings and scale their businesses, I also take that experience into helping founders raise more money so they can help more and more people.
That's incredible. And I want to talk a little bit more about your confidence journey. So can you start with when you moved to London and the journey of how you went from, like you said, a movement coach and a mindset coach and a student to then working and then being made redundant and then starting your own ventures and now being a confidence coach with the aim of helping 100,000 women reach confidence by 2035. That's such incredible arc. Can you please start by telling us a little bit about your journey before we talk about how other people can embark on their confidence journeys?
That is a journey. I struggled with anxiety my whole life since I was very, very young. And the anxiety started growing and growing and growing. And I think it was due to, well, first of all, some experiences that I've had, but also from growing up in a family where I was not allowed to be who I wanted to be. My dad was the type of manipulative person who would tell you, don't wear that, do act like this, you need to be pretty, you need to be skinny and all these things. So obviously I had loads of eating disorders as well. And when I went to uni, so I moved here in London, I didn't really know where I was. And I was surrounded by all these really cool people. I went to a private university because I had a scholarship, so I was surrounded by very wealthy kids that just this innate confidence is in them. So I was hiding behind all these extra people. Obviously my anxiety didn't lower, and eventually I woke up one day and my vision was impaired, my hearing was impaired, I couldn't get out of the house because the lights were so bright, and turns out I had something called visual snow syndrome. Really weird. I think it affects 2 to 3% of the population, and I still have it to this day. When I look at that light, if I turn around, I see lights everywhere, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like tripping all the time. But that was very much a wake-up call for me that told me, Giulia, you need to get your shit together. You need to do something with yourself. And I decided to go on a journey of discovering who I was. I got rid of many friendships, many relationships that I had. It was a very lonely journey. I started moving again. I've always been so active when I was a child, and then I stopped doing it. And that really reminded me how good movement feels. And all these shifts that I had in my life from movement to mental fitness brought me to this more confident self. And when you're confident and you're secure about who you are, you also take care of your body more. So I became the healthiest that I've ever been. I started launching businesses, I launched Six Pillars, helping other women with their wellness. I launched a podcast. So all these things that came from this getting to know who I really was and believing that I could get out there and change the world no matter what other people think. So that was my confidence journey, and now I'm on a mission to help other women build their own businesses and grow their own businesses, because they're not just helping themselves, they're helping millions of other people with their products and services.
That's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that so vulnerably. I want to talk about some of the different things that you said that you did when you started your confidence journey. So you started by mentioning that you cut out a lot of people in your life, and I think confidence is deeply tied to environment and to the people that you keep around you, because insecurity is infectious and confidence is infectious as well. So what were some of the practices that you did to first identify who to keep and who is kind of maybe not taking you to making you the best version of yourself? Then how did you lovingly let go of those relationships, and how did you have those conversations? And how did you grieve the loss of leaving those people behind? Because I think in the whole self-development, confidence, kind of side of the internet, people talk about this a lot, but they don't talk about how it's lonely and it can be sad and it can be hard to choose yourself. And it's the best decision you can make, but it doesn't come without a cost. So can you talk us through that journey a little bit?
I love this question. And I like that you said the word infectious. That cliche thing that people say you're the result of the 5 people that you have around is deeply, deeply true from a neuroscience perspective as well. It wasn't easy. I'm not a sugarcoating kind of person. It's not easy. The way I identified the people that I had around me, the people to cut away from my life, were the people that were not giving me much back. For example, I would do loads of things for them, being very kind, but they would never kindly give back, do the same things back. Or people where I could not be myself around. And you feel it when we've got this aura, the more you build up body awareness, the more you realize that there's some people where you meet them and you just don't feel like you can be your true self, or you have to pay attention to everything that you're saying. So those kinds of people, I had a lot of people around me that were jealous in a way, not jealous of me, but jealous that you would step into their light, let's say. People that they would put you down. I had this person who would tell me, Giulia, you're embarrassing yourself, don't do that, or you're doing all these things, why are you doing that? Or another person who, whenever we would be in a room with other people, she would just dismiss me. And those are the kind of people that just don't align with my values, because I don't need to downplay your light to shine brighter. That's just not what I want to be. So it really comes down to understanding what your values are and which type of people align with those values. Whenever people talk about this, they always say, dismiss everyone, but also there is a big cultural aspect where this doesn't work for many, because you cannot get rid of everyone. I would love to get rid of my family, but I'm Italian. I cannot do that. Family is a big thing for my culture. So what do? I set boundaries. If I go and visit my dad, for example, and he says things that just don't align with my values, I don't answer. I tell him that it's just not something that I align with. I used to get really mad. I used to get really angry every time he would say something. I would just outburst. How can you say this? It's so annoying. Now I just don't let that bother me. I just accept that is his personality. That's how he thinks. Mm-hmm. I cannot change this person. It's not my mission in this world to change this person. I just keep the right distance. And I think that was, if you cannot get rid of someone in your life, that's how you deal with it. You set boundaries, and that has to, you can do it with your family, you can do it with the workplace, with whoever people are in your life that don't necessarily align with your values. Because also with friends, sometimes you have this friendship and they're so nice to you, but as you grow old, you realize that you start to drift apart. And it doesn't mean that you need to get rid of that friendship. It just means that you do things with that friend that makes you happy, and then maybe other things you don't do with that person, or other things you don't share with that specific person. So it's not about cutting people out of your lives completely only, it's also about setting your own boundaries.
That's so powerful, thank you for sharing. And like you said, boundaries is a relatively new word for a lot of people's vocabularies in terms of like, I think it's something that's only becoming popular now for younger people. And when you have conversations with families specifically, and if you add in the cultural aspect, there's some cultures that are not familiar with boundaries. It's not something that is even a thing. Like you said, you're Italian, I'm Indian. There's a lot of crossover in that as well. Of family is very big, and there's this thing of like respect your elders and all this kind of stuff. And boundaries doesn't really feel like, it sounds like a very scary thing, not just for you but for the people that you're speaking to. So you kind of mentioned the example of your dad, but what advice would you give to people who've never been exposed to boundaries before? Like, how do they even start that conversation of boundaries, and how do they make it less scary for themselves?
Boundaries are really scary, especially as a society. We tend to be people pleasers. We love to please people. We love it. What I would say is focus on regulating yourselves. When you think about something being really scary, when you do it, it's going to be scary and it's going to be even harder. So when you think about boundaries, can you bring your body in a state of calmness so that boundaries, it doesn't seem as scary to you, it feels safe. And the way you can do it is through breathing. It is through telling yourself that is okay, you're doing it for yourself, and nothing bad is going to come out of it. How do you approach setting boundaries? First of all, setting boundaries is about putting yourself first and allowing people to respect that. What I mean with putting yourself first is asking yourself, does this action, moment, thing makes me happy? Does it align with my values? If we're talking from a business perspective, does it make me money? Does it get me clients? Is it bringing me towards the goals? Those are all questions that you should ask yourself when you say yes or no to something. And it is not a selfish thing, because a friend might be asking me to help them out. That doesn't bring me anything but joy. Does it make me happy? Yes, that is a boundary. How do you show people boundaries? If you don't want to do something, you say, no, sorry, I can't do that right now. You can tell them, I've got these priorities now, can we do that later? If they don't respect it, make them understand why you're doing what you're doing. Essentially, because we all live our own realities. You could be telling me something that I don't understand, and that's why lots of people just fight for no reason, because I don't understand your perspective. If someone doesn't understand your perspective, you can explain to them the reason why. As soon as you explain them why, they're going to change your perception around you. They're going to be more understanding about that. And even after you explain their why, if they get mad, or if they get angry, or if they don't understand, they might just not be the person for you. And I know it sucks. If you can't cut them out of your lives, you can just accept that they do not accept this boundary, but it's really on them, because you need to respect your decisions, respect your lives. And from a confidence perspective, once you start to respect your boundaries, you're respecting yourself. You're giving yourself so much respect, so much self-belief, so much self-love, and that changes chemistry in your brain. And once you set the first boundary, you set the second one, you're just not going to think about it anymore. Now, when I say no to things, I don't think, oh, that was a really strict boundary. I don't feel bad about it. Especially as women, we tend to be called selfish. We tend to think that we need to be humble, to be liked, and to be a good person. No, like, if you're humble, you're not a good person. Just to quote the amazing Stephanie, fuck being humble. Like, honestly. And that's all what society has put into our heads. So, yeah, just tell yourself, setting a boundary, it's not bad. It actually makes you a much better person, because you need to think about it this way. We want to help people. At least most people do. That's why we say yes to everything. But if you can be successful in your own bubble, you get so much power that you're helping yourself so that you can help so many other people. the more you set boundaries, the more you actually can help more people in the long term, because your business is growing, because you're making money, because you feel better, and you just have more energy.
That's really powerful. And what you said resonates so much, because it's this idea of when you set boundaries, you give permission to the people around you to do the same. And I think if you're new to boundaries and this kind of dynamic and conversation and relationships, it's not just difficult to set your own boundaries, but to receive boundaries from other people for the first time. And that can be a knock to your confidence, because when someone says no to you, that can feel like rejection. When someone says, I'm sorry, I don't want you in my life, not because you're a bad person, but because it's not a good fit anymore, that can be hard. So as well as giving boundaries, what is your advice for people and how they can receive boundaries in a graceful and confident way?
That is a good question. So first of all, if you start to set boundaries for yourself, as soon as someone sets a boundary, you're able to understand it a little bit more. Sometimes when we get emotions like jealousy or anger or that feeling of feeling guilty, those are all things that can, for most of the time, translate into, is there something that person is doing that is scratching something in me that maybe I should implement myself? And it's also feedback. If someone tells you, I don't want to work with you because we just don't align, are you taking it? Are you thinking, they're saying that because I'm not likable, because I'm not good? If all these thoughts are coming up, what can you do to think that, to basically remove those thoughts? Instead, so next time when someone tells you I don't want to work with you, instead of thinking I don't want to do this because I'm not good enough, you can say, I am good enough. So that's probably not the reason. It's probably because that's just not what they're looking for in this moment. So that is all feedback that you're receiving. Sometimes we are actually jealous of other people. And what I like to say is, don't look at jealousy as something that you can use to feel bad about yourself, but look at jealousy as inspiration. Like, I struggle a lot with comparing myself with others. When I look at someone on LinkedIn, for example, Maya Rachura, I love her. I used to be so jealous of her. So jealous. She's so cool. I don't know if you know her. She's like, yeah. She's so cool. But now I look at her saying, she's my inspiration. That's who I want to be in 5-10 years from now. She's so cool. So when you feel jealous, just think, what is it about this person that is inspiring me, and what can I take in? And that's all I can say about accepting boundaries, really, because it just sucks. Like, I would love to tell people there's a good way to accept a boundary. Maybe, but for the most times, there's just going to be a lot of reflection that comes up, and that's just part of the human experience. You're gonna feel bad, accept it. What are you going to do about that emotion?
Yeah, I think that's really powerful, and I think that also speaks to, before I say the next question, also, I'm going to link Maya's stuff down below because she's incredible, and I actually do some of her visualizations, and like I'm in her community as well, so she's really cool. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, it's so fascinating that you say that you can still be confident and have bad emotions. Because I think, like, again, the media portrays confidence as, like, Layla Hormozi says, like, F your mood, follow the plan. You know, like, your emotions, like, don't listen to them, just, like, follow the plan. Confidence is showing up every day. Like, you have to be, like, 100% on. How can you, as women, like, we are sometimes sensitive and emotional. As people, we're sensitive and emotional, and we have, like, I'm really hormonal at certain times of the month. Like, if someone says something mean to me in the week before my period, like, I'm gonna cry. It's gonna happen. But I don't think that means that I'm not a confident person. So how can you be a sensitive girly and a confident person, basically?
Yeah. So like you said, being confident doesn't mean that you're not scared. It doesn't mean that you don't get nervous. where you see someone stepping on stage or running these multi-million-dollar businesses, they're really confident, they look really confident, but you don't know what's happening. Like someone might be on a big stage and their legs might be shaking constantly, but you just don't see it. What differentiates them from a not confident person? They're doing the thing. They are doing it. They feel the fear and doing it anyway. Very cliche, but very true. There's this quote that changed my perspective on my life. You have 0% choice on the emotions that you get, but you've got 100% control on how you react to them. Just gonna take a moment to let that sink in. Having emotions is part of the human experience. Having emotions is beautiful. You're privileged to feel all those emotions. The difference is on how you react to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can tell you right now, obviously this is not true. Your podcast is not good. I think you should stop it. How do you feel?
I'm laughing because you're here right now with me in the studio. So it's like not true because you're here with me, but thank you for your opinion. Yeah. And if you have any constructive feedback on how I can improve it, I will gracefully take that on.
Yeah, cool. But before that, let's say it was someone on the internet, how would that make you feel?
I think if someone tells you you're not good enough, I don't know about you, but when someone says something hurtful, it only hurts if there's a part of me that believes it about myself too.
Mm.
Like if someone says, "Oh, you're blonde," like I'm just not blonde right now, so like it doesn't strike a chord. But if someone says to me like, "Oh, I don't know, like you said, your podcast, your editing could be better," yeah, it could be. You know that, and if it's said in a mean way, that could hurt my feelings. But if someone says it with constructive criticism, that's something that you can take as an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I think, to answer your question, it depends. Like, it only hurts and it only feels bad if there's a small part of me that believes it's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is a really good point. Like, we're all reflections. So that's what I was saying before. If someone tells you something that is hurting you in any way, it means that you're seeing something in you that they are seeing as well. But the reason why I asked that question is because if someone told me your talk was shit, I would feel bad. Like I would get this kind of what's the name of the emotion? Sad emotion, I would say. Maybe anxiety. Maybe I feel it in my chest. And then I have a few choices. 1, I stop doing talks altogether. 2, I take that as feedback. And 3, I cry myself for like in my room to sleep for like a whole night, and I keep doing it the next day. And those are all choices that we have. I think what divides a not confident person from a confident person is the way you react to that emotion. If you feel nervous, okay, are you gonna let that ruin your business? Are you gonna just close back and just go away? Or are you gonna take that, work on it, work on the things that are making you nervous, and you're gonna do the thing anyway? Because it's how you react to things. And also, confidence is not universal. I am not a confident person, and that's it. I am very confident here now because I know exactly what I'm talking about. If I were to talk about physics right now, I'd be sweating profusely. Like, I'm not confident to talk about that. And that's why people feel bad sometimes, because they say, I used to be very confident doing this, but now I'm doing this other thing, and maybe I'm just not a confident person, maybe I'm just not meant for it. No, confidence is a skill that can be taught and learned. You need to transfer those confidence skills that you have, that toolkit, into the new thing that you're doing. It's good that you're not feeling confident at some points, because it means that you're getting out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Some people are just confident and that's it, because they never got out of the comfort zone, because they're doing the same thing, they're living the same lives. A lot of my clients are doctors turned entrepreneurs, which I just find it really funny that they're so confident saving lives, which is the most important thing that you can do, but they're not confident running a business. So they come to me saying, how can I transfer my confidence from being a doctor, being a clinician, to running this business. And that's exactly what it is. It's just skills that you take on. So if you feel scared, it doesn't mean that you're not a confident person. It doesn't mean that you cannot be a confident person. It just means that you need to get the skill. You need to get the skill and work on it, on launching this business or doing the new thing that you want to do.
That's really cool. And it kind of links to my next question of like, you kind of talk about it being a muscle and having to do the reps, but what about, like, we've spoken about how we would react if someone says something to us, but what about the inner dialogue? Like, when you have, I think more than people, if you said to me like, oh, I don't like your podcast, I deal with the constant, this is not good enough, this is not reaching the amount of people that I wanted to reach with the amount of effort I'm putting in. I don't feel like I'm getting better consistently in terms of producing and quality and all this stuff. And these are thoughts I have regularly that I have to like write down and reframe. And it's a constant practice, but it's exhausting. So how do we like deal with the inner hater, basically?
Reframe was the key word that you said. I want to talk about limiting beliefs for a second. Limiting beliefs are beliefs that you are formed when you're really, really young, because when you're a kid, you're basically a sponge. You take all the information that is coming at you, and also you cannot see the world in a gray. You see it as a black and white. So, for example, if I'm a kid and I'm doing my homework and I ask my guardian or parent, hey, can you help me with this? They say no, I'll help you later. Now I might be able to realize that they couldn't help me because they were cooking, let's say. When I'm a kid, all I can see is that they don't want to help me. So what I think is that I'm helpless. Nobody wants to help me. I'm not good enough to be helped.
Yeah.
Everyone has limiting beliefs. There's no escape. Sorry, no escape. And if you look at a list of limiting beliefs that you can find online, you might resonate with many of them. But if you really do the work, there's going to be one that keeps repeating your whole life. Mine is, I'm unlikable. Yesterday I was, about to get my period, I don't feel my best. I was having the shittiest day. And I kept thinking about coming here today, and I kept thinking, why am I doing this? I should probably cancel. Like, why me? And then I asked myself, why 5 times? 5 times, because at the 5th why, you actually get to the reason why you're thinking something. And at the last why, it's because I think I'm unlikable. That's why should I go and talk about confidence when I think I'm unlikable? And then you reframe the thought. So everyone has got these limiting beliefs, they're going to be coming up. Having negative thoughts is very normal. The most confident people have negative thoughts on a daily basis. Our brains are wired to be negative. And that is just a way to protect ourselves from our environment. When people tell you, you should think positively and do all this stuff, no. It's very normal to think negative about yourself. Again, it's about you react to those thoughts. And it's a muscle. Like when I tell people about the process of having limiting beliefs, of thinking that I'm unlikable and then asking myself why 5 times and then reframing, it feels like a very long process. It is at first. Now, for me, it happens in 1 or 2 minutes. It's automatic. So when you have negative thoughts, you're in this automatic pattern. It happens easily. It's just you don't even think about it. Once you're aware of your limiting beliefs, you are more aware of your thoughts. It's gonna suck. You're gonna realize patterns in your life and you're asking yourself, why do I do this? It's because I think that I'm unlikable. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And once you catch those patterns, that's when you can start to stop your thoughts, that train. So for example, if I think that, I need to do this talk, I feel nervous. Why do I feel nervous? It's because I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't really know what I'm talking about because I'm a saboteur. Why do I think that I'm a saboteur? Because I think that I'm unlikable. Those are all thoughts. And then after that thought, what comes up? I'm gonna cancel the talk, let's say. You can stop your thoughts before. So for example, you're gonna go, I'm very nervous. Why do I feel nervous? Because I don't feel ready. Okay, I don't feel ready. Let me feel a little bit more ready. What can I do? Can I visualize? Can I repeat my talk? Can I speak to someone that make me feel better? Can I go on a walk?
Yeah.
So these are all the things. So when you have negative thoughts, don't beat yourself up. That's very normal. What gives you power is how you respond to those thoughts. And sometimes it's very small reframing. For example, when you want to launch a business, there is a lot of, what if I fail? What if I lose all my money? What if it doesn't work? Instead of instead of saying what if, can you reframe to, even if I fail, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Even if, because bad things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm not here to sugarcoat and say, you'll be fine, girl. Like, no, like bad things are gonna happen. It happens to everyone. It's all about how you respond to them. Even if I feel nervous, I can learn how to feel less nervous when I'm on stage. Even if my business fails, I can adjust to make it work.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the even if. I think that's something that I need at this point of my life, and I think that's something that's really going to help the people that are watching. And I want to say you are likable. Like, I like you. I'm so grateful that you didn't cancel and that you're here today, because I've learned so much from this conversation so far, and I know it's going to get better and better, and people are going to benefit from this. But I want to talk about how, in order to be confident, you have to be okay with being disliked as well, and how being unlikable is not inherently a bad thing. And I guess I also had that belief for a while of maybe not that I'm unlikable, but like, oh, I'm a Marmite person. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you will either like me or you really won't like me. And that was a belief that I held for a long time as well, not so much now, because I feel like I surround myself with people who make me feel celebrated, and that's lovely. But can we talk a little bit about the courage to be disliked? Mm-hmm. And your opinions on that, and how you've navigated that with your core belief that you're working through around likability?
Mm-hmm. The courage to be disliked is really important, because as humans, we crave to be liked. We want to be liked by as many people as possible. I don't agree with people that say, you shouldn't care about not being liked, just be you. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, but that's bullshit, because we're social beings. Did you ever have FOMO?
Oh my god, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, same. FOMO is the fear of missing out, but for me it's more the fear of being abandoned. Because when back in the days, we're still very primitive, community was a big part of our health. If you were abandoned, if you were left behind, you had a better chance of being killed, which is why I love that we're living in a world where community is such a big word, because we need community, we need to be liked, because if you are not liked, it means that what your brain is saying, you're gonna die, basically. Obviously it's not like this in this world, but even if loneliness is a really big problem for many people. So have fun with this. Work on how can I make myself a little bit more likable. That doesn't mean that you need to change who you are. We're not doing the fake it till you make it thing. You're still using you, but you're enhancing your good qualities. Because ultimately, let's say you have a business, you want clients. You want you want people to like you. Obviously, you want to network, you want to go and talk. Obviously, you want people to like you. So work on your likability. How can you enhance what you have already to make you a little bit more likable? And that means enhancing your qualities, being vulnerable, being more human. And try and make people like you, but all those people should be people that you want to be your clients, people that you want to help, people that align with your values. And then you have the courage to be disliked. That is where self-confidence really comes in. Self-confidence is, I can walk into a room full of people. I ain't working. If you're not working like me, this is like something I need to repeat myself all the time. When I walk into a room, knowing that you will be fine, you've got enough. Like, people should be, you need to think that people are lucky that you're in that room. That's how you need to live your life. People are lucky to be in my presence. People are lucky to talk to me. And I'm also grateful and lucky to be talking to all these people and be sharing my knowledge and enhance my knowledge as well. There's going to be people in those rooms that don't like you. And that's okay. That doesn't undermine the value that you're bringing into the room, because 2 people might not like you, but 10 other people in that room do, and these are the people that you want to talk to. And that is where self-confidence really comes in, because you've done your best, you've shown up as you want to show up, people left you bad comments, okay, what feedback can I take from it? But yeah, I mean, those people are not gonna work with me, and that's okay. It's about this abundance / versus scarcity mindset, right? Do you need those 2 people to like you when 10 other people do like you? Not really, because those 10 people are gonna, let's say, for example, from a business perspective, I'm gonna bring you money, they're gonna bring you fame, whatever you want to have. So that's, I think we don't need to think that being likable is not necessary, because it is in our society. So when you try your best to be liked, that's when you shouldn't care about those people not really liking you, if that makes sense. Because you're trying your best. Ultimately, you're just trying your best, you're showing up as yourself. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I want to link what you just said to something you said earlier about movement. So you started your confidence journey by setting boundaries and kind of doing an energy audit in your life, and then you moved on to like the physical realm of like exercise and energy and movement and your body. Before we move on to like actual movement, let's talk about body language and how confidence can be conveyed through body language, not just to other people but to yourself. And so when you're going to these events, like the networking event that you spoke about, before you prime yourself on like, I don't have to be liked here to have a good time, how can people not just do that mentally, but in terms of their body language? And what are some body language like tips and hacks you have for the people who feel shy or not so confident or maybe not so good at their body, or they're having a bad skin day or a bad hair day and they're like, I really don't want to be seen today.
I love this. So we tend to think that our body and our minds are low-key disconnected, but they're not. It's a loop. You can change movements and things in your body to change your mindset. You can change your thoughts, and your body's automatically going to change. When you talk to someone, or let's say you walk into that room, you see people, your brain already knows who you want to talk to because of their body language. Your brain is scanning all the time on these very minor body movements and perceptions, and there's also energies that come into play and all of that. And that's really to understand how your body has so much power, and there's some things that you cannot really change consciously, I would say, but there are things that you can. You know, I always started my TEDx by asking people, so I asked the audience, all the women in this room sit like a man would, and all the men in this room sit like a woman would. You saw what happened. All the women started like spreading out into the chair, where all the men started to close up, and they're really, really, really small. And I guess we can touch about the confidence gap later, but this really shows how everyone knew how men would sit, and they tend to spread out. Statistically, men are more confident. They're more likely to take risks and take actions and do all these bold things, and that is because, you know, society also lets them. As women, we should do the same. If you don't feel confident, the first thing that you can do is take space. We grew up thinking that we should be humble and we should be small because that makes us a good person, that makes us a good mother. We need to be willing, like boundaries, we shouldn't set boundaries. No, take space. We can do it now. We can roll the shoulders all the way up, back and down.
Okay, everyone is watching and listening with us.
Yeah.
Okay, one more time.
So, shoulders all the way up, back and down. Pinch your shoulder blades together. Your ears are far away from the shoulders. First of all, that gives space on the chest.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives you space to breathe.
Yeah, I have never sat like this before in my life.
It gives you space to breathe. If the slower you breathe, the better you breathe, the more your nervous system calms down. Nervous system has a lot to do with confidence. It's a lot to do on how safe you, because confidence is about how safe you feel.
Yeah.
Can you use your breath to make yourself feel safer?
Yeah.
How do we breathe? We tend to breathe a lot from our chest. Bring the origin of the breath down to your lower abdomen. That activates the parasympathetic response.
Okay.
So while you're gonna feel your belly inflate like a balloon, it gets really big, and then it contracts in and up.
Like a singing breath.
Yeah, exactly. That palms, hello. We don't know why, but showing palms makes us feel safe.
Okay.
Maybe it's probably because from a primitive perspective, it shows that we're not carrying any weapons, basically. So when you see someone, hello, that's what I do online in people, hello. We see TEDx, people are always like, hey.
Yeah.
Showing your palm.
And I noticed, we're going to come to your TED Talk in a bit, but I noticed that you made a lot of hand gestures as well. And I feel like it was very like, you were almost subtitling your talk with your hands.
Mm.
And it was like, it looked choreographed in a way. So I feel like that's really interesting as well. And we're gonna come to that.
Yeah. And then we're sitting now, but our legs obviously, we're wearing dress, we can't just spread our legs out. But what we can do is our feet grounded on the mat. That's my yoga teacher talking. Feet grounded on the floor. Again, open up here, but obviously not standing like this. But you're showing your hands. That already shows you. It gives you a little bit more confidence. It makes you feel a little bit more spacious. We should technically be talking like this now for our podcast, because actually you do see our voice has changed.
Yeah. I feel exposed.
You feel exposed. You feel out there, and that's how you should feel. You want people to see you. Yeah. If you don't want to, obviously, because this is very mechanic, it's easier when you're standing a little bit because you're taking up a little bit more space.
Uh-huh.
If you just want to relax, same. Can I put my hand to the side? Can I put my hand here? I'm taking a little bit more space.
Uh-huh.
Even if my legs are crossed, I'm showing a little bit more dominance. Can I bring my chin a little bit higher? Yeah. And then it's the voice as well, the way you talk. As women, we tend to do this a lot. I'm fine.
The upwards inflection.
Yeah. That's. It kind of sounds like you're making a question, and that makes people think that you actually don't know what you're talking about. And also because you're kind of looking for, not support. What do you say?
Validation.
Yeah, validation. Like if I'm giving my opinion, I think that we probably shouldn't do this, right? You're looking for validation. Instead saying, I think we should do this. I think we should do this. I think we should not take this client on. I think we should talk to this person. That makes you safe. Makes you feel safe because it's that self-accountability piece. Do you even trust what you're saying? Because if you don't trust what you're saying, how are the people supposed to trust what you're saying? And that comes from the way you're sitting, the way you're telling, the way you're saying things. These are just small things that we can do with our body language to feel more confident in our bodies. And it feels weird, it feels unnatural, but it also depends on what kind of situations you want to feel confident in. I talk a lot about business. When I do business, that is not my most natural self. I'm putting up a character, obviously, because I need to sell this person. It's still me, it's just a different side of me. And that side of me is open. That different side of me takes space. That different side of me speaks a little bit louder. That different side of me, if I walk in a room and someone doesn't move on purpose when they can, I wait for them to move. Because I'm not gonna let a man just allow me to shrink so I can give them space. And those are just like a little act of microfeminism that I like to do. Or if I'm in the tube, after the talk people keep texting me, I cannot unsee this now. You walk in the tube, you see all these men just spreading out, and then you see women just, if I'm in the tube, I'm taking space in my seat, because that's my space. So it's all these small things that you can do with your body that changes the way you're thinking about yourself in that moment. Because if you make yourself small, you're gonna think that unconsciously, you're gonna think that you're small. But no, you're allowed to take space. This is your space. See, there's a line that divides us. I'm allowed to take all the space that I want. You're allowed to take all the space that you want. And it doesn't mean that you're being confident doesn't mean that you need to be an asshole. It just means allowing yourself to take the space without overshouting other people, obviously.
Yeah. That's so powerful. I love that. And I'm going to watch this back and I'm going to do the exercise because like I said, I don't really sit like that. A lot of the girls that are listening have at some point in their life when they were kids been called bossy, right? You take up space and you get told you need to be thinner, you need to be quieter, you need to be seen, not heard, you are bossy. And so I think we've touched on the maybe not enough side of confidence, but a lot of people struggle with the I'm too much side of confidence as well. And I'm too much and I can't take space, there's not enough space for me. We shrink ourselves. Again, this is so visible in terms of physicality because so many of the most beautiful women I know have had a phase of their life where they've wanted to lose weight. I've had that as well, and you said that you struggled with that as well when you started sharing. So physically taking less space. Emotionally, we've talked about people pleasing, we've talked about body language. So how can people start to feel like, not that they're enough, but that they're allowed to be as muchy as they want to be and take up the space that they want to, and it's safe to do so?
I love this. First of all, if you think that there is not enough space for you, that is again that scarcity versus prosperity, let's say, mindset. Thinking that there are not many opportunities, thinking that if a person is doing the same thing that you want to do, then that space is already taken. You need to shift that thinking of, okay, that person is taking that space. I'm a different person. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to talk about things in the way you would talk about this. I'm not the first person who talks about confidence. You're not the first person who launches a podcast, but we do it in a way that's ours. That is us, and that is beautiful. So knowing that there is always space for you. Going to the point of people being said that they're too much, bossy, aggressive, dominant, then we go and talk about the confidence gap. The confidence gap is the difference between men and women showing confidence. Men are told from when they were very young that they should go out there, take risks, make mistakes, they should be astronauts and all this stuff. Whereas women are told to be good and compliant and behave well and be pretty, and that's what's gonna make them a good person. And then obviously we grow up and there's a lot of societal issues that comes into this. When I talk about confidence gap, I'm not saying that women are not succeeding because they're not confident. I work with a lot of femtech founders. They are the most confident people I've ever met in my life. But society labels these women as bossy, like we said, dominant and all these things. And it also throws curveballs at them that they need double the training and confidence and resilience to keep going because they get double the harshness. So that's why I want to do confidence for femtech founders or any female leaders really, because we get double the harshness. It's not because you're not confident already, it's because you need to be trained because the society unfortunately is still very biased. If someone calls you dominant, bossy, arrogant, that is their gender bias talking. And I'm not saying that just men are going to tell you this, because everyone is, someone once told me, we're all sexist in deconstruction. And I find that really beautiful because I'm gender biased. I don't know about you, you might be gender biased. Sometimes you don't even realize. I remember when, and it doesn't mean that I act on it, I just acknowledge that there is something that the system has put in my head where I give prejudice to people. For example, when I was working for the accelerator, I was talking to directors, VPs of these very big corporate pharmaceutical companies. And I remember once this woman showed up on a call, and I was like, oh, you're a woman. I've been speaking to all white men all this time. Are you the right person to talk to me? That's what I was thinking in my brain. And because I never saw a woman in the environment, and obviously I didn't act on it. I embraced it. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, well done for getting out there, you know? So those are all gender biased, and when someone tells you that you're dominant, bossy, whatever, yes, you are. Why wouldn't you be? Like, why wouldn't you be? We are not used to seeing so many women take a lot of space. And that's why we should do it more, because we need to start desensitizing society in seeing women taking space, setting boundaries. Doesn't mean you're a bitch. No. Will people see you as a bitch? Maybe. But that's not on you to change. You're just being a woman, you're just taking up space. And that's why there's people like me that are trying to give society that if a woman sets boundaries, if a woman says no, if a woman says their opinion, she's not being a bitch, she's just being a good freaking leader. There's this study came out on the US presidency, and they asked people why they didn't vote for Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton. Was it Hillary Clinton?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. I was like, is that her name? And they basically, what most people said was, it's because they seemed too ambitious. I didn't believe that they could actually do it. They seemed too ambitious. And then, I'm sorry if I'm getting political, but then you see a man with no qualifications whatsoever doing crazy stuff. Isn't that ambitious? See, that is the gender bias that is being ingrained in society. I wish there is some sort of practical tool that I can say to these women, aside just keep doing it. Keep being yourself, because that's how we win.
That's beautiful. And you said earlier about, like, again, in your confidence journey, you brought movement into it and it made you feel better about your body as well. And like I said, in terms of taking space, it's not just like your opinions, but physically taking space, like you showed us in terms of your body, but like feeling enough. And I want to talk a little bit more about like body confidence. And I know that maybe you don't do as much of that in coaching because you work in like the business world, but it comes in to every part of your life. If you don't feel good about your body, it's like it's talking to you while you're at work, while you're on a date, while you're at the gym, while you're asleep. So what advice do you have on body confidence and feeling like you can take up space and you can accept your body and love it, even though that sounds cheesy?
That feels very personal, because I struggle a lot with my body image, a lot with body dysmorphia, and I'm not a therapist, I'm not an expert, but I can talk from my own experience. And that is so I lived in the States before coming to the UK for 3 years when I was in high school, and I gained loads of weight, like loads of weight. And then I lost it, like right when I got back, I lost everything. But my brain was still seeing me as that bigger version of myself, which is, it's weird how your brain plays tricks on you. And I was doing this course with this neuroscientist, Dr. Beasley Natal, she's really cool. And she said it's because you're still acting like the person that you were when you were a little bit bigger. You're still acting insecure, you still have the same habits. I used to binge eat quite a lot. You're still having the same habits and all that. So can you change those habits to change how you see yourself? And that's what I did. The moment where I said my life shifts, where I started eating better, and before I was going to the gym and doing all those like diets, I hate the gym. I hate it so much. It's just not fun for me. And I stopped doing that, and I started doing contemporary dance, and I started doing yoga, and I started doing calisthenics, so these more movement-based practices. And that's where I saw the shifts in my body as well. So I got a little bit more muscular. I just looked better for me, because that might not be for you, right? And I started to see the shifts, but still I didn't really feel confident yet. I felt like I could do more and more, until I started to work on my mental fitness, and my life just got better and I felt better about myself. That I started to see the change in my body, and I started to look at my body and say, oh, okay, I look good. I started to wear clothes that fit my body. I didn't try to fit clothes anymore. I let clothes fit me. So all those changes were, I think it was more realizing that I have control on the way I look, and I have control on how I feel, because before I felt like I didn't have control. It was, I don't know, if I would get a pimple, I'd be like, oh, what do I do about this? I need to like cover it up. Or if a dress didn't fit me, it was my fault. Whereas no, you have control on the way you can appreciate how your body looks. If you don't feel good in your body right now, can you do things in your day-to-day that just makes you feel better emotionally? Things that make you feel confident emotionally, that give you that feeling. For example, something small for me, it's making my coffee in the morning. Like when I'm working, I drink a coffee, I feel super confident, but that's because I like it. I don't know, it's nice. Or sometimes I have a little balcony, so I sit outside and I smoke a cigarette outside. I know I shouldn't, but I don't know, it just makes me feel good. I don't do it that often. That's like my little gift. I don't know, I talk to my partner, I tell him that I love him. That makes me feel good. So it's all these minor things that you can do that change your emotions and eventually changes how you feel. Because remember, what is reality really? I can go really philosophical, but you can really shift the way you see the world if you change your thoughts. I know it's not really, I can't really give any practical insights on this, but that was my experience.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And what you said reminded me of something I saw the other day, which really stuck with me. I think, again, this might not resonate for people listening or for you, but for me, it really stuck with me of like, your body is the altar, not the sacrifice. You know? I think sometimes we see ourselves as like, oh, we have to, like you said, if we get a spot, we have to cover up. Or if we feel like, oh, we like didn't go to the gym for a week, like we have to like go extra hard and compensate. Like, no, your body is the altar. Like, offer it food because you care about it and because you want to like respect it, rather than like be like, oh, you're sacrificing it to like some greater life and purpose and waiting for like. I look back and I think about some of the big moments in my life, like my first prom, or like certain moments where I wish I cared less about what I looked like and I just enjoyed that moment of my life. I wish I didn't care that, oh, I had a spot on my head, or oh, like you could see my little belly roll like in the dresses. Like I wish I would have just enjoyed that moment, because I look back and I just think, who cares? So please stop waiting to be pretty and just go have fun.
Yeah.
Go have fun.
Yes. And I think that also comes down to, it shows how little we know our bodies. We have a massive healthcare gap, and our bodies are seen as taboos and they're seen as niche. And as you grow up, you think that your body is taboo and you're not given the knowledge on how your body works. This little belly that many women ate, that's your uterus. Yeah. Like, do you want it to function? That's you need that space, you know? As women, having a six-pack is not healthy. Like, we cannot have a six-pack. Our bodies change. If you menstruate, your body changes throughout the cycle. I've got a little belly here. I'm so bloated. My hair gets I have to wash it like 3 times this week. It's so greasy. I feel bloated. And that's because I'm getting my period. And before, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was supposed to happen. That's all water retention. And now that I know, I have more respect for my body, because I'm like, yeah, I get bloated. I'm work hard, you know. And I mean, to be fair, I did eat like a whole box of chocolates yesterday, so there's also that. But so really embrace your body for what it's made to be. In nature, your body's meant to change, and when you realize that, you know, when you get that, what you said, that self-respect, when you do things that make you feel good from an inner perspective rather than an outer perspective, even when your body changes, you will be fine. Like, for example, I went to Italy last week. I ate loads of food when I went to Italy. Yeah, it's disgusting. I gained some weight, but I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. I'll just come back to my routine and lose it back up. Like, it doesn't matter anymore when you realize what your body's meant to do, the changes that it goes through. So yeah, get to know your body. It's really awesome. It's really cool.
I love that. You did a TED talk, which is awesome, and I'm going to link it down below if you send me the link, and so people can watch it. But for people who weren't there, because I got the privilege to see it, what are Giulia's top 3 takeaways on the confidence gap and how women can feel more confident?
So on the confidence gap, that is a systemic issue. It's a societal issue. It's not. I've heard a lot of people talking about a confidence gap, and they kind of use it as an excuse to blame women. Women are not successful because they waste so much time perfecting their slides, or they waste so much time on their knowledge. Well, they kind of have to do that because they get more criticized. So obviously, as a woman, I'm gonna spend loads of time trying to show people that I have the knowledge, that I am the right person to run this business, if we talk from a business perspective, because society is going to judge me for the small little things. That's why I keep repeating, I don't do this because I think women are not confident, because the women that I talk with are the most confident people. They're amazing. But they get double the harshness. They get judged because they are pregnant. They get asked if they're gonna have kids, which it's honestly ridiculous. They get, a lot of my clients say, I feel like people don't take me seriously when I talk about drug discovery because I'm a woman and I'm very young. So all these things. So first of all, confidence gap is a systemic issue. Because of the way we were brought up, that's my first point. The second point is because the way we were brought up, it is true that women have generally, and we're always generalizing here, we have less confidence because we are not trained for confidence. Again, confidence is a skill that can be taught and learned. So if you feel that confidence is what is blocking you, work on your confidence. There are many things that you can do. You can brag. That's my favorite. And then I would say the third thing is we need to stop looking at these systemic changes as a men versus women issue, because we're just getting divided and more divided and more divided. We're not talking about men versus women, we're talking about creating a society that works for everyone. We're talking about patriarchy versus society, because patriarchy doesn't work for anyone. Men have a lot of issues too because of it. So can we all come together and first of all be aware that we're gender biased? When we talk about gender biases, a lot of people get defensive because obviously you don't want to be called a sexist. And I'm not saying that you're a sexist, I'm just saying there's learnings that we got by society that are ingrained in our brain, and they come up sometimes. All you can do is just be aware of them, question them, and act accordingly. If a woman comes off as bossy, maybe she's just being very confident. Can you look at her that way? Can you learn from it? Can you take her as an example? So yeah, these would be my 3 takeaways from my talk that I really stand for.
That's amazing, and I'm going to link it down below as well. And just so people can watch that and they can work with you, because you've shared so much knowledge and insight today. Tell us about the art of bragging and how people can work with you.
Yes, the art of bragging is my coaching, speaking. It's basically my whole movement. I'm a feminist at heart. I am trying to build a society that works better for everyone. I do one-on-one coaching. I work mainly with tech founders who are launching, scaling, raising their money. I'm also getting clients that do want to start a tech business but they don't know how. So if that's you, please come and chat. I also do public speaking. I talk about exactly what we're talking about now, the confidence gap or the gender biases, and I also work with companies on helping their teams be more confident and also creating an environment where we can eliminate this confidence gap and these confidence biases into the workplace. And I should probably explain the name, because when I say when I say the art of bragging, people look at me. Bragging? Isn't that bad? No. Bragging for me is talking about what you can do out loud. And it's a really nice way to just reframe your mind and feel safer in what you do, and getting to know your skills and your capabilities and just feeling amazing and confident and smashing it.
That's amazing. I always end the podcast on the theme of gratitude, but today I want to make an exception and I want to end it on the theme of bragging. So can you please give us your brag of the day?
I look really good in my new outfit today.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, what's your brag?
My brag is that I got you here on the sofa. You know, like, I messaged you a few times on LinkedIn being like, hi, like, speak to me, work with me, please. And you invited me to your TED Talk, and that's how we met. And after, like, a little bit of back and forth, like, I initially was like, oh, I'm being too much. She probably thinks I'm, like, a stalker, all of this stuff. Because it's scary getting people that you don't know personally, but you look up to come to speak to you on your platform. So my brag is that I got over my fear of being too much and being annoying, and that you're here with me today, and that now we're friends.
I love this. Yeah, thank you, and thank you for sharing your vulnerability. I think you're really cool, and on my way here I was like, I want her to be my friend. She's really cool. She's doing this at uni. Like, I didn't have the confidence to do that at uni, so it's really cool.
I love this, and I want everyone who watches this to comment their brags below, please. Thank you for watching and staying to the end of this conversation. I really hope it helped, and I'm so grateful that we get to be part of your confidence journey.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.